Ba-ba-ba. What's up? I'm just testing and see if can you guys hear me okay? Ciao. We're trying to avoid using the microphone, so if you can hear me, throw a thumbs up. Hey, Platine. How's everybody doing? Yeah, clear? Perfect. Awesome. Sí, tranquilo. We're gonna start in just a minute. Romy, ¿cómo estás? Ahí viene el master. My brother is coming right now. Stall. Bam. Okay. Nope. Played something with guitar. Sí, Romy. Por ahora. Trate la tapa. Bam. ¿Dónde miramos? What do we? Oh, wait, there. All right. How we doing? Probably you guys know him. No, well, I don't know if you know him. He used to have long hair back in the day. We're with my brother, Christian Delpech, 19-time world champion. And today we're gonna just, if you guys have any questions, I'm gonna try to read a couple. If you guys wanna know something, I know I have a couple of questions. I would like to know, or I would like to, for you to tell them, how do you start with bartending and flair?
I started in 1995. I was 17 years old, and after I watched the movie Cocktail, I fell in love with flair, and I thought it was super fun, and it would be super cool to be able to do flair behind the bar. However, how did I start bartending in general? I started, I was 17, and I was in high school, at the end of high school, and a friend of mine told me, why don't you work as a bartender in my bar? It was a pub, and I was like, there you go, we're back! I didn't drink at the time, I didn't have any experience bartending, but I started working anyways. I didn't even know how to make a whiskey coke at the moment, or rum and coke, whatever. Never mixed a beverage in my life, and I started bartending. And then after, I liked the job, how it was, and I went and I did the bartending course in Argentina, and then immediately after I started bartending, I also started doing flair. But I got inspired for the movie Cocktail.
And where did you go after you worked in Buenos Aires? How the first steps in your career? You worked in Buenos Aires first, and then.
So I worked in Buenos Aires in many places, and then I went to the north of Argentina, Salta. I worked there for a season, and then when I came back, I decided to leave Argentina, and I went to Tenerife, or Tenerife in English, in Canary Island, which is in between Europe and Africa, and I started working there as a bartender, and it was funny because I didn't speak any English then, and I thought it was because it was Spain, I should be safe, but everybody in every job everybody spoke English because it was very tourist, and there was a lot of tourists from the UK, and so I had to learn. I have no choice. Just I learned in the hard way. But yeah, it was fun. It was challenging. But I started bartending in Tenerife. From Tenerife, I moved to Madrid. Then I moved to Ibiza. I worked in Ibiza, and in Ibiza, the first year I worked in Ibiza, I worked on jet skis. So I didn't bartend. I started doing magic. When I was in Madrid, I started doing magic as well, and I left bartending for a year. And then when I came to Miami for a vacation, I heard about this competition called Quest for the Best in the year 2000. I'm sorry, 1999. I heard about that competition, Quest for the Best, and I loved it. I watched some videos, and I was like, I love this, because I was doing flair at the moment, but I didn't have any competition, anything to be inspired by. So knowing that there was a competition, I was like, okay, it's time to practice. So I went back to Ibiza, and I started practicing for Quest for the following year. And that's basically how I started competing.
And now that you mentioned, I was going to ask you, what else did you do besides bartending? I know you say now you were doing magic.
Yeah, so I was doing magic. I was doing magic, close-up magic, table by table. Most of it was cards. And because I live in Madrid, and I had the pleasure of and the luck of practicing and training with the best magicians in Spain, and some of them best in the world, like Juan Tamariz and Manolo Talban, Jorge Blas. It was a lot of very well-known magicians at the moment. Now I used to hang out with them and train, so I was in love with magic. And then when I moved to Miami, I had to decide what should I do, if I should continue doing magic or I should start doing flair. And then I made the choice.
Nice.
Or flair chose me, either way.
Then, what was the first comp that you did? Was it the one in Argentina at the Hard Rock?
No, the first comp ever. It wasn't a flair comp. It was just a cocktail competition. It was nothing. It was like for the people that finished school. But the first comp, I believe it was in Argentina. Yes, the Hard Rock.
The Rock and Flair.
Yeah,
in
Rock and
2000.
Flair. Yeah. Wow, I didn't remember. I thought it was Universal Summit, but now that you mentioned, it was Argentina, Hard Rock Cafe. So that one, it was my first competition, and it's funny because I was like, I came back to Argentina, and I was practicing already because I saw there was a competition called Quest, so I was training, and when I come back, I see at the moment it was Matias Upan, Danny Rossi, Christian Olden, and I was with my friend Hernan Markowitz. Now he's a badass DJ, but at the moment, we were flaring and doing bartending, and so we saw them training, and we were like, wow, we were blown away by the level. So we started training hard, and I remember Marcelo Benitez at the moment was in charge of the Universidad del Cóctel in Buenos Aires, and obviously Marcelo being Marcelo, he was making those comments. He was like, okay, he says, the past, and he pointed at us, Hernan and I, and then he goes, and the present, and he mentioned the guys. And I remember thinking inside of me, I was like, and you're gonna see the future now. So, because I was so light up, and I really, really loved flair. I just fell in love with flair, and then since then I started practicing, and after a month, the competition in Hard Rock happened, and I won the flair round, but I lost in the speed round. So overall, I didn't win, but I won the flair round. I remember the first flair comp that I entered.
And then you went to back to Spain, right?
Yeah, I went to Universal Summit, and then I went to Spain. believe. But the second competition was Universal Summit, for sure.
And then
And it was a rookie division. And I didn't qualify in that one.
And then the third one was Quest.
And the third one was a qualifier in Roadhouse, because I heard there was a competition in London in the year 2000. So I went to Roadhouse for one of the qualifiers. And I was called a juggler, of course. And then, so they gave me the Man of the Match award kind of thing. And then I came back all upset and I started training more and more and more. And then I competed in Quest 2000 and I won the semi-pro division or rookie division, whatever you call it.
Oh yeah, and was it in that one, the one with the 3 bottles with Sky? No, that was the following year, right?
Yeah, the following year, yeah.
The following year. And then you worked in Cancun before moving to the States, right?
Yeah, so after Quest, I moved with Juan Llorente, that he came with me from Spain to compete in Quest. So we moved to Cancun. We drove for 7 days, we moved to Cancun and we took a job in TGI Fridays. We had other job offers, but we took TGI Fridays because they had the same glassware that they were using in competitions in the US. And at that time because I won in Quest, we got invited to go to Legends, which at the moment, Legends was the most prestigious competition overall. And it was invitational only. So it was like 60 competitors international and it was invitational only. So in TGI, we went to work in Cancun TGI Fridays and prepare for the first Legend that I was going to compete.
And what was your first Legends? Legends 3?
Legends 3, yeah. The first one Nathan Taylor won, second Bill Long, and then Legends 3 was my first Legends. And my goal was basically go there and just do a good presentation and just do my thing, what I went there to do, and just making it to the finals. That was my goal. When I qualified in 4th place. And I remember that time Ed Heber, rest in peace, he was the favorite on the competition, and he was really good in speed round and pool test, and but in flare I beat him in flare, so I qualified 4th. And going to the finals, I had pretty decent chances, but when I get to the final round, he was ahead of me by 70 points, which is in the FBA rules, 1 ounce in each bottles, metal pull spouts, Jack Daniels bottles, like it was very difficult to make up 70 points in a flare round. Especially Ed Heber was very clean. So I thought I could never win, but I went and did my flare round. I killed it. I think I had like 2 drops and people were on their feet, like clapping. And he went after, he had like 13 drops. That's like, and spills. So he has like 100 points in deductions. So I came ahead and I won the overall by 7 points. So it was the first, I won the first Legends I competed pretty much.
Nice. Now, what's your favorite competition of all time? If you have to choose one.
That's a good one. That I remember preparing for and being challenged, it was Legends. Definitely the reason why is because Legends was very challenging. You have 4 rounds to prepare and you have to be very strong in each one of them to be able to win. And at that time my level of flair I was ahead, but in speed I wasn't that good. So I was just starting, so I didn't get the system, I didn't understand many things, so I started to breaking it down and getting better, and eventually I won speed rounds, a lot of them after that. But Legends, I would say probably, and then obviously Roadhouse, because it's 2 different monsters. One is super technical, imagine Legends was basically for bartenders. And the way the FBA will look at flair is like bartenders flipping bottles, flaring, making cocktails. So everything was technical. You have to use a metal push boat. You cannot bend them. You have to have 1 ounce minimum in each bottle. And for every spill, and I mean a spill is a spill, period, you have like, it was like 5 points deductions for every drop was 5-point deductions. So it was very technical. And in just flair wise. Then you have another round that was working flair with half full bottles, 3/4 and full bottles. And you have to do working flair, same thing, spills 5 points, and all. It was very heavy in deduction. So you have to be very technical, make sure that you don't spill anything, and obviously that you don't drop. So you need to basically make your best moves without making mistakes. And that will be the overall winner. Sometimes you make the best flair, but someone does a clean round and you messed up like 3-4 times, and 20 points deductions was very difficult to make up in flair. So you would lose. So it was very challenging to prepare. Obviously, speed rounds, a blind list, you don't know what drinks are you making, and then pour test. You have to be very accurate in pour test to nail, because it was a pour test. It was a very difficult pour test because it was also a speed pour. So they time you while you're doing the free pour. So you need to do it perfect in the least amount of time that you can. So it was very rough. To practice well for that comp, you need at least 3 weeks to prepare. Like already having a good flair level, of course, but you need to have 3 weeks a month minimum to prepare. So that was very challenging. But Roadhouse, it was more like the way Europe will look at, or more the UK will look at flair, like just whoever does the coolest trick and whoever looks like a performer on the stage the best. So they weren't caring about the drinks as much, or spills weren't that strong on the spills. On drops, they will count the drops, but they wouldn't penalize you that much on the sheets if you drop on the smoothness or anything. So it was more like just go ahead and do everything you have, and it was like more like an underground street like competition, which was super cool. And the crowd is all there screaming, yelling. So it was also very very amazing comp. So I would say like those two are my top two for many reasons.
That's why in Argentina we used to say he just throw the Roadhouse routine.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw crazy flair.
Yeah, when you throw crazy flair, we say in Argentina, he just pulled a Roadhouse, because it was like you prepare for the beginning of the year for Legends, and then the whole year you prepare for Roadhouse. But Roadhouse flair was definitely stronger in flair, but Legends was more technical. So you need to have a good balance, and not many people in the world can say that won both, actually. But just the two of us, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, that won both Roadhouse and Legends. It's not, it's not for everyone. It's a different orientation too.
It's definitely a different challenge. The pour and the speed round. I used to hate practicing for those rounds, and with time I loved it, because
the challenge
it's a challenge. You gotta go faster. You gotta go faster, but you gotta be clean. You gotta be accurate, and
they will count also on the speed round as you pour it. The judges are counting your ounces. So if you over pour, they would nail you too, for spills, for anything. And they were very, very strict. It doesn't matter who you are. If you messed up, you messed up. Period.
And now that you mentioned that, like we've seen like Roadhouse, these last finals that they had, the speed and pour. What do you think about them having those rounds at Roadhouse?
To be honest, I haven't seen the rounds.
No, but like the idea of having speed and pour at Roadhouse.
I think it's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong to copy an idea that is been wanting for so many years, because obviously Roadhouse is going, Roadhouse, I wouldn't say Roadhouse, WAFA is going through the same challenges that the FBI went at the beginning. So now they went for flair, but now people is being like, yeah, but they're just bottle flippers. No, show me that you're a bartender. So now they're trying to get cocktail making, free pouring, and speed. So you can show that you are an overall bartender, not just a bottle flipper, which makes sense. That's what flair bartending is. Otherwise, it would be just flair or bottle flipping competition. But that's when you add the word bartending next to flair, you need to stand for bartender. So if you're not a bartender, then yeah, you can flip bottles very well, but I will know that your technicality is not there when the time comes to make a drink.
Which it's crazy. I remember when I first started practicing for Legends, I was practicing the working flair, and you were like, they can tell you're not bartending. I was like, how can they tell? Like, I'm doing the exact same thing. And now when I look back, I'm like,
now you know.
You can definitely tell if I'm bartending or just practicing
Yeah.
for a round. It's not natural. You're not.
Yeah, so I remember like you going like crazy, doing all these crazy moves like nothing, boom, nailing them, and then when you're gonna pour juice out of a container, I'll be like, I can tell you're not bartender. You'd be like, how? I'm just pouring a juice in a glass. I'm like, I don't know. It's something you can't tell. It's just technique, it's confidence, it's that thing that you have that you can tell when someone works and when someone doesn't. You know.
And you were saying you named WAFA, and you were one of the founders, right, of WAFA?
Yes. So originally, I was one of the 4 founders of WAFA. So at the moment, it was, I remember exactly when the idea came out. It was in Romania. I wasn't comfortable with the way the FBA were doing some things, and so I said it should be a competition. So they start doing things proper, and I talked to Andy and Tog and Fabio, and we came up with the idea, and we were trying to come up with a name. We came up with the idea, the logo, and then WAFA born. And it was Andy, Fabio Milani, Tog, and I. And then after, I think a few months later, Andy brought Tom, and it was Tom too.
And why did you leave WAFA?
Well, I left WAFA because I didn't agree the way they were looking at things. I got really mad in one competition in particular. It would have been my 20th World Championship. So I went to compete in Monaco at the Sky Global Challenge, and I received emails to tell me, Christian, you want to judge? And I was like, no, I want to compete because I won the last one. I want to compete again. And they were like, no, but I think you should judge. And I was like, I want to compete. So I go and compete, and I usually don't say this, you know, in media or for everyone, but I don't think I mean, I know I did not lose that competition. So I've been beaten by a guy, it was Mitsu, from Japan, who used my multiple objects, like 3 and 4 bottle moves, my full routines, and not a move, my routines. And he broke up, in the 4 bottle routine, he broke a bottle, smashed a bottle in the middle of the air. Everyone saw the breaking. Another drop, that dropped and hit the crowd. He rolled the bottle and went to the tables. So at the end he has 4 drops, 1 break, I have 5 drops, and he beat me. And I was super mad, arguing with Andy, arguing with Tog. And I remember, like, my perspective, it was I was at the moment I was super serious about how the things were going, and I didn't believe that they were taking the right approach on judging. So I remember we were arguing for hours. We were going to Italy, driving with Fabio also on the car, and we were arguing for the whole trip. And right then I decided that I didn't want to be part of WAFA any longer, because I didn't like the way they were taking things. Not because I lost the competition itself, because within the conversations, I heard comments like going like, "Oh, come on, it's just a competition, just drink and have fun." And I'm like, no, it's not just a competition. I just flew from Las Vegas. It's like a 20-hour flight with stops and everything, training for weeks for this. This is not just another 5-minute routine show that I do for an event. It's a competition. It could have been my 20th World Championship. This is my life. This is my career. This is what I spend most of the time thinking about, is in flair. So for me, it's just a little bit more than just a competition. So with that being said, we didn't agree on many things. We argued, and I just decided to step out. Though I don't think if it's right or wrong. It's just I just didn't believe that it was going in the right direction.
It's for some people it's hard to understand.
Sorry, but yeah, I'm not saying that it's not in the right direction. I'm saying like at that very moment when I left, I didn't think it was going in the right direction. So
like you practice so many hours for so long, and it's right, like people sometimes are like, well, it's just a competition, just go have fun, get together, get drunk, and you're like, no, especially like if they know you're very competitive at everything, just whatever you do, you want to be the best, and you want to give your best. So when you go and you sometimes it's hard to, how can I say it's hard because it's your round, so you're gonna sound cocky when you're like, no, I should have won.
Yeah, you sound unbiased.
But how you understand flair, and sometimes you see something like, for example, like I'm sure there are competitions that you're like, I should have won that one, and I won anyways. Like they gave it to me, and I can tell. Like I used to do the same thing. If I would think that I didn't win, I would just grab the trophy and be like, "Thank you," and just walk away, because you feel that you didn't deserve that, and I'm sure that you can come up with a couple of those as well.
Yeah, I mean, on top of my head, I can remember. I have both. I have competitions that I thought I should have won, and I didn't, and I was sure I did, and some other comps. And when I said I'm sure I did, it's like I'm 100% positive. If we put any other judges, it would have been the score. Like if you watch the video after and you judge it, you would have seen. But in the ones that I thought I lost, it was one competition in Carson City. It was in 2007, I believe. It was a week that I won like 3 competitions in a week. Blue Blazer being one of them, and then it was, I don't know if it was Legends. It was a lot of, no Legends, I didn't compete in Legends. I think it was King of, UFPC, King of the Ring, the third one, and or fourth. And then it was in Carson City, and it was against you. I had a routine, I had a few drops, more than expected. I wasn't happy with my routine, and you killed it. So there's no way I would think I won. When they called the winner, I was like, I was surprised, truly surprised, and I don't like to win when I think I don't deserve it. Then the judges said why, because I asked how did I win? He said because Rodrigo forgot to pour the ingredients in the drink. So you pour the drinks in a cup to pour them afterwards in the cocktail, but you pour them in a glass, but they never end up in the cocktail itself. And the judges didn't, someone told the judges saw it, they reviewed the video, they saw it, and they put you the penalty, and you came out second, even though with a penalty you came out in second. So, second, right? So, that one I didn't think I'd win. And then another one, it was my first Sky Global Challenge that I competed against Tom Dyer. He was one of the competitors, and I think Tom killed it. I think I did good, but I think Tom was slightly better. And I ended up winning. So that competition, I was like, but at the end, there are competitions that you'll be like, yeah, he could have won, I could have won, whatever. Perfect. But he didn't, he didn't win. I won this time. And nothing wrong with Tom. I mean, we just shake hands, we just look at each other, whatever. It is what it is. And it sucks because, if he should have won, I wanted him to win. You know what I mean? I want to win, truly. And those are the two that I remember that I thought I didn't win, and I ended up winning. Then other ones, you could have another competitions that they were super tight, like you and I in Ukraine or Russia, that was like by 2 points, by 3 points. It'd be like, I didn't drop. You dropped 1 time or 2 times, but you did much more than I did. So maybe, who knows? And I ended up winning by a point or two, or So those are things that it could go either way. But those are, in those two situations, I felt that I lost, and I won. I ended up winning.
And it's a hard situation because you're like, you got to compete against a lot of people that like very closely, but it's not your fault, like and it's nobody's fault. You're just competing, It's just the judges, they make a call, and it is what it is. You can take it personal because you just go on stage, perform, and
they make the call. So if you win, you will always see the results after you see the sheets. So especially when there are deductions, and the deductions determine who wins or loses. So if I go to the competition, for example, in Carson City, when I beat you in that one, I look at the score sheets, and you did have that penalty. So I did beat you, fair and square. But in my mind, I never thought of it because I didn't know you had that deduction. Sometimes we don't see things and the judges do. But now when the deduction is not on paper, so if I were to beat you straight without deductions, I would be like, what? Like, it would be insane. But now I have an explanation why I won. So when the situation is like that, you'll be like, okay, he was better than me in Flair, but he messed up. Like, I lost in Legends tandem with Juan. So, because we forgot to open the beers. We destroyed them in Flair score, but we forgot the beers. That deduction was 50 points. We lost by very few points, but still a lose is a lose. You lose. You lost because you forgot to open the beers. It's in the rules. With Tom, I think it was one of the situations that I think he was a little better, and a lot of people thought Tom should have won. And I was like, yeah, I think he won. I think he's got it. But you never know, and I won. But it wasn't like I don't think it was like they robbed him, but because my routine wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad. It was just not as good as Tom's, for example. But on the other side, you also have the ones that you won, and you end up losing.
It's part of the game.
Exactly, yeah.
What do you think about Flair now? Like when you watch all those routines from 2006, 2008, and now 2020. What do you think of Flair? Like, where do you think it's going in the right direction?
I see Flair a little bit of. I could compare it with technology. So, for instance, you can do things with the phone right now. You're doing an interview where people can watch it live and text and ask questions so you can answer. You couldn't do that in 2003. Now you can do it. So it's an amazing upgrade. However, a lot of people is all day on the phone and they are losing the human connection that we used to have in 2003. Instead of taking pictures, always worrying about Instagram and Facebook and what's going to be my post and TikTok or whatever is out there. You were worrying about talking to your friends, having a good time, go and have a drink afterwards, the competition, or water, or whatever you have, but you have fun with your friends. So it's an evolution, but at the same time, you win in one way, but you lose the other way. So with flair, it's the same thing. Like flair, back in the days, I remember people used to enjoy it very much. They loved the shows. They said that the prime era of flair was 2003, 2004. When you were competing, Tom, Nicholas, myself, it was like the prime of flair bartending. It was good shows. I mean, we had good shows, and we did. The flair was very technical. It wasn't as difficult as it is today. The same reason, I mean, obviously now you have YouTube, so you can watch routines. Beginners can learn in 6 months 20 times more, 100 times more than when you and I started. We didn't have anywhere to learn from. So it is an evolution in the technicality, but there's some things I don't like. I don't like the fact that the regular crowd cannot comprehend what's going on. The object goes in the air, you see clack, 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 smash, 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 you'll be like, what? What did just happen? Like, as a judge, because I judge him, sometimes you have to really think of what the person did, because it's like super complicated move tabs. Some of them, they look very alike, so also you need to be aware of which one is different, which one is not. So it's very difficult. Imagine if it's difficult for a judge, how difficult it is for the crowd. When back in the days, I would throw a stone in my mouth and you know what I did. It's just, and you know exactly what's going to happen. You see it going and you see it executed. You understood and you still yet enjoy it. So that's the difference that I see. When it comes behind the bar, also I see that evolution hurting flair as well, because working flair is not competition. Working flair is mean you are working while you performing flair, period. And that has a lot to do with your reading of the guest, who wants to see flair, who doesn't want to see flair. So you're a bartender. You're not like, oh, I'm a flair bartender, I'm flipping everything, unless you work in a flair bar. But if you work in a regular bar and you need to make good cocktails, you still can flair. Of course, you can flair, the Four Seasons, no problem. You can flair, but it has to be different. It has to be delicate. So you need to limit it yourself, your skills. You're gonna use 5% of your skills when you're doing a working flair routine. Well, if you work in a flair bar like Carnival Quarter, then you're gonna go off, because you can. They wanna see that. But there's some places that they cannot do that. So you need to be able to read that situation.
And that's the mistake that I would say all of us made at some point in our career, especially at least when I first started. All I wanted to do is to show off what I could do. Mm-hmm. So even working at a flair bar, I was just like 1, 2, 3, pour, make the cocktail, and then 3 and 4 bottles. Like, look what I can do. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously, with time you see that that's wrong. People don't understand. They can see the objects and be like, yeah, that must be hard. Mm-hmm. But it's it's not what with time you understand that. Not because you're doing 3, 4 bottles, 5 things in a bottle, the customer is gonna be like, oh my god, it's crazy. You just do a line trick and you can blow their minds. So
I've been doing master classes. My first master class was in Moscow, the year 2005. So I'm doing master classes since 2005, speaking in front of people and talking about flair bartending. Always, I've been saying since then. I remember in my PowerPoint, it would say flair and mixology. When those two get combined, that is the ultimate bartending. And I've been saying since then, the less you do, the more you do when you work behind the bar. And that's a very difficult concept to understand at the beginning. You'll be like, what do you mean the less I do, the more I do? Yeah, the less, the better. but you feel like sometimes you have so much in you that it feels like you are a Ferrari driving in first gear, working in a bar, and just driving in first gear and going very slow. When you have so much horsepower, so much to give, to show everyone that you can do, and you still cannot do it. So it feels that way. So it's very difficult to balance, and I do understand. But going to that same thing is the reason why Flair did this within the years. But it was obviously economy reasons, and competitions in the US stopped happening. The FBA got dissolved, so no more competitions. Done. However, the Flair bars and behind the bar, you didn't see any more Flair bartenders invited anywhere. It was a really down time for Flair. And I think what caused that, it was the bartender's ego. It's our own ego is that caused that. Why? Because of that reason. That you are the 17-time world champion. You're gonna Flair and you're gonna nail it. You're gonna do it because you know you're capable of. But then you have the other guy that wants to be like the 17-time world champion. I want to be like Rodrigo, so I'm gonna try that trick. And they're not gonna succeed. They're not gonna do it. They try it at the bar. They break stuff. Management start not believing in Flair anymore because it's cost them money. They're losing money. The guest, which is the most important when you have a bar, is waiting extra time because you're too busy showing off your moves for your own good. He does not want to see it, but you don't see it because you feel like I have so much to show you. He'll be like, I don't care watching it. So it's like going to see a sport that you don't like. So, nothing against the sport, but if I go to see baseball, I don't care. I could be talking to someone the whole game because I don't care. I don't care about that sport. It doesn't attract me like some people don't like football. So, proper football. So that's what it is. Our ego killed Flair, or almost killed it, and now it's reviving. But see what happened now. Mixology, what they call, which I do not like that word. I think that mixology means a bartender that actually cares. That's basically what it is. But mixology, craft cocktail bars, when the bartenders get too crafty and too geeky, they forget about the main thing. It's also their ego that's playing against them. Because what do they think about? They think about, oh, look at this cocktail that I can do with this infusion and that, and I'm gonna, stir, I'm gonna dry shake it, wet shake it, I'm gonna stir it, then I'm gonna layer it, and I'm gonna do this. And the guest is like, dude, I just want a beer. No, but you need to see this cocktail. We don't serve beers here. I'm gonna make you a cocktail. Like you wanna show what you have. You showing off. It's your ego again as a bartender that wants to show your cocktail or your creation, or you want them to drink certain spirit that they told you they don't like, but you be like, oh, I'm so badass that, what don't you like? You don't like tequila? I'm gonna make you a tequila cocktail. You're gonna like it. Because that's your satisfaction. You're gonna be like, if they like it, you'll be like, I'm a badass. He doesn't like tequila and I make him like it. I make him change his mind. So it's a satisfaction, it's your own ego. But you need to read in that situation, what does the guest really want? Maybe he's here for shots and for a beer. To have a good time with the friends, they don't care about cocktails, does not like cocktails, he likes straight spirits or beer. Or he does not drink, just water. It's okay to serve just a water in a cocktail bar. It's okay to serve just a beer in a cocktail bar, even if it's not a craft beer. It's okay. You don't need to kill people with, history or how the cocktail was made or how is tequila done, what's the difference between tequila and mezcal. Some people don't really care. They're there to talk to the girl. They just want to hook up, and you're in the middle giving them stories about tequila and mezcal and the whys and the regions and the laws. Who cares? So you need to place your point as a bartender in flair, in cocktail craft making, in customer service. You can also in customer service when you have to be attentive, but you cannot be intrusive. Once you're intrusive, you also bothering them, and they are the guest. It's whatever the guest wants, obviously within reason. Yeah? And that's what I think happened to Flair, and it's happening with craft cocktails. So we need to chill. We need to take our ego out the door and just go and do our jobs. It's just cool. We're not curing cancer. We're just, we're just making cocktails and entertaining people.
Which, now that you say about egos, like if we take that into Flair, how was it, like, what difference do you see between, again, back in the day and now? Like, I know that it like in my experience, when I was practicing and when I was competing in 2004, 2005, it was very like, this is my move, this is my thing, my routine. I don't want to show it to anybody, and if somebody else would go and take somebody else's move, it would be like, a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that?
I really don't know about now, because I'm not behind the scenes. I'm the one judging, so I don't know if they're talking between the competitors. Oh, that guy used my move, or he took the idea from my move, whatever. But my move thing, that's my move. I think is stupid. I don't think I think it's flattering. Someone is taking your move is flattering. However, I must admit, at the beginning, 2001, when I was living with Christian and Juan, I used to practice in separate times. But the reason why I did it is because sometimes you practice with somebody, and in the back of the eye, you see someone practicing, and when you're creating afterwards, without even knowing, you're creating something that they did, and you don't recall it. And then you think it's yours. And then they say it's mine. And then it's that war between friends that is your move, is my move. At the end of the day, yes, there are originality in Flair, but I think it's flattering if someone else is doing your move. At the end of the day, it's who wins, who perform it better. If you do an upgrade of a move, that means that you can do it better. The other person can choose to upgrade it again, or just go to another road and do a different move. I think the creativity and be able to say my move is very selfish in a way that you cannot claim that ever if you don't know. You're not everywhere in the world. You don't know if someone in Europe is doing the same move, or in Vegas, or in Argentina, Peru, anywhere, is creating that same move at the same time, or even already had it before you. But they don't compete that much, and they don't have the big stage to show it, and you do. So it's very unfair to say that's my move. So it has been moments that I use moves that they were from bartenders that I saw, and another one's claim it, that move. So I could tell you names too. I don't care. But in sometimes you it was one time, I recall this perfectly, because this is a perfect example. I came up with a move that I thought of. This is original. But again, it's original to a certain point, because I took it from DJing. I was watching a DJing competition, and I saw the DJ doing this with the disc, right? So I decided to come up with a move like that. So I grab a shaker over the shoulder. I got a shaker in my hand, so I grab the bottle here, and I do this to the music, right? When the music slows down. I go and I perform it in November 2003 it was in a competition in Panama City, Triple Challenge. I did it there, it's on video. I'm the first one that ever did in a competition. I go to Roadhouse to compete that very November, and I compete against Nicholas. And we both did it. The same move. Nicola did the same thing with a different, I think it was a different object. Still the same concept, same move, exactly the same move. Do I think Nicholas copied me? I don't think Nicholas is gonna watch Triple Challenge, because he couldn't watch it anyways, because the DVDs would come 2 months after, and you couldn't videotape either. So he just thought of the same move in a different time, in a different part of the world. We both did it in the same competitions for the first time. Not for the first time. I did it already 2 months before, but he never saw me doing it, and he's doing it. So does that mean that he copied me? Not really. I didn't take it like, oh, he copied my move. There's no way he can copy my move. He never saw it. I did it first, but he never saw it. Yeah. And sometimes there was competitions that people don't get the point. Sometimes they get it very personal, and they don't understand that this is a competition. So my goal in a competition is not to show off my skills of look how much I can create and be super original. My point is to win. So there were times in the competitions that I've done somebody else's move, but not with a reason to get originality points for it, because it's very obvious that it's somebody else's move. In case, and I'm gonna tell you, for example, it was Nicholas. So I've used one Nicholas move that in a competition, I throw it and install it behind my back, right here. That's very signature from Nicholas. He did it, right? Which is basically an over the shoulder, and he stalls it right here. Not taking credit for the creation is original. Now, when I do that move, my intention is not to gain points of originality. My intention is to gain points of, look, I can do this like nothing, like you, but I can also do that, and then I show my stuff. So there's a reason behind that. It might be misread by some people, maybe from the person that created that move. So I never felt threat by someone using my moves. Never. I don't care. If you use all my routine and all my moves, you're playing with disadvantage. So if I'm using your move, I'm actually giving you a handicap, because I'm using your move, which might hurt me in the score. But I just use it as another move, like a simple transition, because I want to show that what it's a show off. Now we're competing, so I want to show that what you do is not that difficult. I can do it, and then I go and do something else. I do my stuff that I think you can. So it's not that point, but people take it as a misconception, you know. So, and when it comes behind the bar, I've heard this so many times. People get offended. Oh, he uses my move while he was working. I'm a bro. I'm making money. I'm working. This is a job. So if I'm doing your whole routine of working flare, you should feel flattered. You shouldn't feel intimidated. When someone asks me, because people ask me this all the time, Christian, do you do like working flare moves that are, I don't know, like, can I do you mind if I use this move? And I'm like, bro, at the bar you can use my whole routine. Everything that you see that I do, you can use it behind the bar. You can use it on stage, I don't care, but you can use it. You making money, you're working.
I always say when they ask me,
it's lack of confidence.
I'm just saying, when I work, when I'm behind the bar, they're all my moves.
Yeah.
Like, in a good way. I'm saying they're all my moves. Why?
Of course.
Because if I can grab the spoon and put the spoon in the glass and make a drink, I know it's Nicholas. I did it in Legend 6, and they gave him a shout out. Like, I was like, hey, this is Nicholas' move. That was kind of like, it's his. But behind the bar, people don't know anything about flare. So I'm like, they're all mine. If I can go and do the cherry trick, which I don't know who did it first.
I don't know.
If I can go like the stall, like here, the Nicholas does. If I can do Tom's moves, Marek's, Tifa, any move, your move, I do it. If it's gonna make money for myself,
there's something.
That's the goal.
Yeah, there's something that you mentioned that I can actually put it together with that. Is that you said on the feet on Facebook, it was I think Tom was asking to talk about the conversation that I had with Nicholas in Vegas when he came to compete in King of the Ring. So we had a debate. We never argue. We always have debate and we exchange ideas. Yes.
Before we go to that, because we're about to get to the hour and they're gonna cut
Already?
us.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cut this video and we're gonna go live and we're gonna go back to the debate that you had with Nicholas King of the Ring. So we see you in a minute. Bing. Porque